They might be certain rules that do not go against with what the consumer or the innovator wants. But these are the existing regulations, and we are supposed to comply with those. When you say that we have companies that would like to be part of the financial system by using transactions not in Kwanzas. It's not regulated, but tomorrow they might be. I mean, I cannot say that it's possible because there's no regulations. Let me issue a license. I will issue a license. Then you go to Kwanzaa. Protecting the consumer. It's not just about preventing innovations to take place. We are looking at the consumer, and I'll always be focusing on this. At the end of it, each company is free to use the technology they want. It could even be blockchain. There's no impediment, there's no prohibition in saying, well, your system cannot be in blockchain, because BNA is actually starting blockchain. There's no such thing. But what exists, as far as I could see, companies and people were harmed. So there's a need to have some kind of balance. There's a need to have some kind of balance, and the regulators should also look at what needs to be done and monitored. But the blockchain technology as such is allowed. It can be used, and many other things can also be used. If I'm to complement it, a cryptocurrency or digital currency is a digital asset. If you had to look at the evolution process, our exchange rate we're down by changes. Paper, stone, so digital card, we are now making digital payments. Regardless of all of the digital assets, it's a cheaper. So the question is, what is the understanding of the regulatory institution with respect to each of these type of assets? Let us just look at the multi-cash express, which is under the umbrella of EMIS. It provides 4 or 5 similar modalities, and these modalities are digital. So we need to look at the technology as a democratic aspect, because it has the possibility of bringing or generating access to a number of structures. And if we are to look at the European Union, they're on the bridge of launching the Euro digital, just like the United States is about to launch the digital dollar. South Africa is working on it, Nigeria, South Africa is working on launching cryptocurrency, and not just so. That's why I'm saying that by improving human capital is fundamental, because this could be part of any of our sphere. And German recently created a suggestion regulation. Angola would want to massify this, and we have national programs such as Protezi, Quenda, whereby blockchain would play to talk about PIX. And how does this PIX work in? You read my thinking, and as you were asking the question, I was thinking of PIX. This was a revolution, actually. Brazil had very random regulations in the banking sector. There are very few financial institutions and banks in Brazil, it's almost impossible to record deficits, or let's say because everything was in their hands. There was a monopoly of 5 or 6 banks in a country of more than 200 million inhabitants, with the eighth biggest economy in the world. So if you are to transfer from one account to another within a bank, that would no longer be charged. So within the same bank, it's okay. But if you were to do a transfer from one bank to another, this would be called electronic transfer. And bank would charge a fee. And banks, obviously, they thought of this need. During your commercial relations, you could transfer from one bank to another. And this, that was mining of money. And that stopped a lot since there was a technology to eliminate this. What did the central bank do? PIX is a spontaneous tool. So you register a PIX key, and this PIX key within your bank, they can use your email. You can use your email or even your mobile or even your CPF, which is an identity in Brazil. And there's a quite interesting thing, because if I'm going to ask Pedro Mendes to send me a PIX, I can simply send my email or my cell phone number. But before that, in order to do a transaction, I'll go to the bank, give a bank account, the bank code. That was really boring. So they had a number control. Now I can simply send my cell phone number and I ask Pedro, please send me a PIX. So they get the bank website, they insert his cell phone number, and they'll provide automatically all of his banking information, and the transfer goes directly, immediately. This is a very good example on the use of the blockchain, and with no costs whatsoever. So we can now wire money from one bank to any other bank. It's spontaneous, immediately, with just simply using by the cell phone number of the person without any cost. And that has revolutionized the technological part of the banking networks in Brazil. So they undergo a very strong regulation, and it's worth noting that it's not just about the regulation, but regulation, it's nothing when it has no regulatory aspects. Regulation has to do with the rules, and we must make sure that those rules will be applied so that there will be oversight, punishment if necessary. So I fully agree with Dr. Yuri was saying that regulation is not there to prevent people from using, but it needs to make sure that this is applied, and you do it through supervision, through penalties for those who do not stick to the rules, and this is really great. Now we're going towards another direction in Brazil, which has to do with open banking, which is a new use of a democratic use of the blockchain network. And let me just give you an example. I had a bank account in Bank A, and I wanted to get a loan from Bank B. There was a Brazilian fraud that instead of getting this loan at Bank A, then you get it from Bank B. So this is what we would call risk analysis. So banks were integrated themselves to conduct this risk analysis. Nowadays, each Brazilian has a score, which is similar to the United States score, which has to do with a credit score. And whenever you opt to go for open banking, you leave a bank where you're looking for credit, and then you have visibility of all other debts you have in automatic manner. So today I can get into Itaú Bank. Bank Itaú knows what I have in current account, and it comes out, it shows in the application, and this has brought more transparency in the process, and that has reduced the bank banking risk, and consequently the credit risk has reduced substantially. So this is the democratization process that we were referring to, that the blockchain network brings about. It becomes more transparent so as to improve our life, our day-to-day. So it's actually an interoperability of different models that allows us to, regardless of using a cell phone number or email, once you are being registered and that cell phone number is associated to a bank account, any bank will have this information in order to do this interoperability. Now I'd like to give the floor to Engineer Carlos Pina and to find out from how is the Cape Verde technological level. It's good, but it could have been better. Digital transformation, it's more than technological. We need to rethink how we design, develop, and deliver services to people, and that would forces us to rethink the whole public administration. Even though we are technologically prepared, but in the case of public administrations, the private sector faces the same problem. If we are to continue working in the previous model, it's not going to be possible to have an effective digital transformation that would have an impact on the lives of people. In Cape Verde, we are good, we are working, and the government has a very strong objective, is that by 2026 we would have at least 60% of services 60% of services will be online, meaning that any company or any citizen may perform its services or even acquire services and products online, regardless of being in Cape Verde, or regardless of his physical presence, being in Angola, Cape Verde, Europe, in any other part of the world. And that will be a huge ambition, because this will force the whole state structure and all social and economic model to be adapted. And allow me to go back to our topic that has to do with the blockchain. Out of all characteristics, advantages, and disruptions that blockchain brings about, there is one that I'm going to reinforce, and this was already talked about, as to the word consolidation and democratization, but it also brings about a quite interesting feature, which has to do with the empowerment of citizens or of companies. Why is that? Because we spoke a lot about regulation, and I believe I'm not from the financial sector. I believe that the regulation must be done in all sectors, but I believe that all blockchain or any other technology will not put an end to regulation. Without any regulation, there won't be any economic model. And even centralized economic models needs regulation, but we cannot live without a regulation. Blockchain, and we need to separate all these concepts. Regulation will reduce intermediation or brokerage, and that is something we all need in order to transfer my money to Yuri. Theoretically, I wouldn't need any brokerage as long as I'm in compliance. So blockchain will do smart contracts. They will eliminate or significantly reduce brokerage, especially for commercial banks. But it must have rules, very strong rules. But what I was referring to in this characteristic is to do with empowerment. And let me just give you an example. And we are already using and implementing blockchain technology. All citizens have their data in registration, well registered. They have health registration, whatever registration it is. What happens is that our data, the information that belong to me, and we have the state as the guardian. The state is the guardian of my data. What happens is that the state can use my information without me knowing, and the blockchain technology we allow citizens to have power, and this will be a radical change with what we know today. Medical treatment, my registration can be changed to increase more information. But the blockchain, this will enable citizen to allow his or her registration to be changed, and that will generate a lot of advantages. This will increase the quality of health because doctors will have more updated information. On the other, this will enable the private sector from the health sector. They'll be able to communicate because this data belong to me, meaning that if I'm to go to a hospital, public hospital, I'm assisted, I'm consulted, so my data are updated, and tomorrow, if by any chance I go to a private clinic, the doctor from the private clinic does not need to form a new file, because they can simply get this information. I can give access to my medical file to another doctor from the private sector. That is the advantages. We don't really talk that much about the blockchain because we are very much, and for many reasons, the blockchain has grown a lot in the financial sector, especially with the cryptocurrency. So it is used in different sectors, and countries like Angola, and I believe that you can take advantage of it. I usually say that Angola, Cape Verde, or any other country do not need to go through the 20-year learning curve, especially just like those digitally more advanced countries. We don't have to go for 20 years. What we need is disruption from the organizational thinking perspective, a clear political guidance in order to accelerate this process so that everyone can take advantage of this process. Anyone getting the English? Anyone getting English? Anyone getting English? So it eliminates a brokerage of the process. We're coming to the end of our panel. I'd like to move on to some questions. I don't know whether the invited guests have questions for some of our speakers. Anyone getting English? Anyone getting English? Thank you. Thank you. Vicente Lopes is my name. I'm the Information and Communication Technology Director for Agustin Neto University. I enjoyed the presentations, but my question goes to Dr. Agustin for Cape Verde. Our relations without prejudice with what we have with Brazil, Germany. Sometimes we have good relations with Cape Verde University, where we had good technological contacts. My question to you is that, with respect to blockchain, and you spoke on behalf of the government, what are the key challenges What key challenges is the government of Cape Verde facing or experiencing in implementation of blockchain? And this has to do with that data security. You've also mentioned about regulation, and that's a question I could ask, but I just want to have an idea on the use of data, especially when it comes to notary services and civil registration data. Thank you. Thank you.
So to be distributed, to be transparent, because any transaction or operation register, every participant of the net, they know, and so that it can happen, so that we can create the block. And Boy spoke about my classmate. It's necessary the concepts. There are ways that need to be used in the blockchain net, and there are many kinds of process, mainly in the mining, and it's also demanding, and it is expensive. And in 2022, we could have this process of mining, but the blockchain, we can say that reinforce the security. We example in Cape Verde, we have this experience in 2020. We have technological net, like private technological state that used to work as a diaspora of Cape Verdean, the diplomatic people. They are part of this net. So we're suffering in Africa in 2022. So Cape Verde suffered some, like we have learned a lot from this issue. So, but we are overcoming this according to the cyber security. And then we know that actually we learn every day. So let me explain a little bit about blockchain. As a blockchain net, I don't want to say that it is impossible, but there is a probability that we are going to receive the like attack that comes from the government. Why? Because the blockchain is shared. It is impossible another attack every participant. So it makes that blockchain improve the cyber security level. So imagine we have the service based on the blockchain. We are creating two services. First, the register, the notary register verification that is going to reinforce what is the confidence, but it's going to oblige you to recover the updating what we have got. So that solution that can help in the answer, but it's really important to reconvert the information to the technology that adapt to the net. And after we have the bankarization of the state, which works as a bank, which means that every public institution, they have the payment system. Example, me when I realized I'm going to take out my certification I paid to the test, to the state. So when I see that this bankarization helps, I mean, work as a bank, as a normal bank, and what we are doing here, we have to reconvert. There are very two big challenges, but with this, we are going to change the paradigm which is to provide the service to make that people and a company they can interact, they can create value, and to make work creating condition so that people from some company they can work without use of intermediation. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. So we have more one question. I don't know if we have someone who can ask you a question. Well, I think there isn't. So clear. It's clear. It's clear. Yes, I think there is someone who wants to ask a question. I think you don't need it, right? Do we need? There are people. Okay. Thank you. So, good afternoon, the speakers. So, my question is regarding to the crypto coins, example Bitcoin. So, this is answer from the book over. BNA being as a regulator of coin in our country and talking about the digital crypto coins, why don't allow the mining here in Angola so that we can adapt it to this reality that is exposed in terms of active payment? Why our government doesn't allow this? Because here in Africa we're so far away from this reality. So I want to thank you once again for the question. Yeah, I'm going to go back to focus on the same point. So truly, what makes when we are before a new technology, there are some challenges. The first thing is that you take it and follow all the things, and then use all the strategies that can control. Yeah, I think in here I explain it. And then we have that kind of aspect in which has to do only by one regulator. Okay, if I consider Bitcoin as a coin, in Angola the coin is Kwanza. But if I consider this as an asset, that's why there are people who used to invest in this, but they should understand that before they buy these assets, first they have to go to the BNA to buy this. After BNA, nowadays not like this. The broker, those who sell titles. So this is also what we are doing. We are doing the same segmentation, but this segmentation is something a little bit controversial because it doesn't only one regulator it approaches many regulators. When there is a conflict, example, who is going to regulate? Example, we have got in Ilacon. You have kind of ministry that they are going to control this. It's not only BNA. So it's really, when we are talking about regulation, we are talking about law. How are we going to operate? Who's going to operate? How are we going to classify? So in the meeting of these operators, it was that the proposed law is to cast out this. It was not the BNA proposal, but it was the regulator proposal, and it was for the parliament. So the parliament, we have the deputies, they look at the things, so they say, no, we are going to deny this, so they can, it's a little bit this kind of mining as it was addressed. So not even like have the contradictory opinion, but this is this is a view of Angola. I don't want to talk about a negative aspect to defense, because we have the example, they talk about the developing countries in mining. So it's part of the regulator. How do they apply it, and what is their vision for it? So let me just try to clarify. Our focus in the technology of blockchain, and the technology that is going to allow us mainly the financial, the financial inclusion to the contradictory of my classmate spoke, Leonard Dev. We in Angola started well. So, example, I have been to Brazil. I can go to the ATM of BFA, in which I can have, in which I'm going to pay a rate with a different card. So in Brazil it is happening, but in Angola we have never faced this. Well, because in the time we created so after this we have created this new way of working. So after the evolution, one of them is that there is a need to bankerize, but only with the bank we cannot solve the problem, the financial problem, because as a company, its objective to generate budgets like profit. Example, nobody wants to invest where there's only 100 people, in which the tax only like 30,000. Even in bank example, we have got the banker agent. Imagine you are being contracted to be the agent banker to facilitate this transaction. BNI created, I think, in 2016, created the financial system. So we took all these equipment and we were working with this. There are some of them that nowadays, example, they are paying. Example, we have one of them pays. It doesn't mean that BNI is not doing nothing, and is like expecting for the innovator doing. But it's really important to know that we have the specific people who can do this. And one of the things that happens to us to do by one of the things has to do by the transition, in which example nowadays you can see a lot of kind of publicity of quick is going to work with the African, so I'm going to take this mine as vice versa. As a member of the Quick, I'm going to make instantaneous translation. Example, those who works in the bank, I think he uses Quicks. So this is the issues that they are being implemented, step by step. But it's really important to know what are the regulation that have, and which regulator is using this activity. Mention example, if I'm working with two, I have to resign it to these two like regulator. Example, I can see young people here just to encourage. The laws are here, and then but the law are not to forbid only, but they are for us to follow. Imagine someone who has got 10,000 or 7,000. Someone who is unexperienced who have this and doing. If he was a victim of cyber attack. We can say we are going to say to him that for you to protect yourself from this, you should use this. In a company, in a family. So when I go there tomorrow and saying I need my money to pay my child fee, they say that in here there isn't money. So we have to create these rules for this. Well, now clearly the innovation comes before the regulation. It's really important. We as a regulator, I'm talking about all of those who are working for the public service. But we know that we can apply these, although not as the people want, but we can apply this. So there are questions, so we have got the speaker so they can respond. So I want to thank for the speakers for the explanation given. So thank you very much. Trazer alguma coisa.